Erica. Thank you guys so much for having me. I was telling Erica, I've been to like every club in town. I've been to their meeting or joined, except for Kiwanis. So it's such a pleasure to be here and to learn more about the Kiwanis Club and your mission, and I really appreciate the opportunity. So as Erica said, Mathew Laborde, I own a commercial real estate brokerage called Elifin Realty. So we do strictly commercial real estate. Basically everything but single family homes. And started the business about 2 years and 8 months ago. And we are a young company, started it the day after my 27th birthday. And so about 1 year and 8 months ago, we've experienced a lot of growth, pretty much unprecedented growth. And just to give an example of that, 1 year and 8 months ago, we represented about 13 properties in the Baton Rouge MSA. And now today we represent about 196. So it's a lot of growth, and we do it with only 4 agents. So we only have 4 agents in the entire company. Every single agent too is new to the business except for me. Nobody that works at Elifin has ever worked in commercial real estate prior to working at Elifin. And so they learn our systems, they learn our model, they learn our culture, and are 100% bought in. The average age at Elifin is 27, so it's a bunch of millennials, right? That you wouldn't necessarily associate with hard work, or but I think we somehow got like the good collection, and have like a really dynamic, incredible team. And I would attribute our success to a lot of different things, you know, how we operate and everything. But basically, one of the big things is having, you know, a young person, millennial group that grew up with the internet, that's at the helm of everything, right? Pulling the levers, and not necessarily directing everywhere where we go, but creating an environment and allowing some of this great creativity and hard work and passions to flourish of some of our team members. And one example of that is Paul Casisa. Paul is here. Paul's a 19-year-old intern at Elifin. Started this summer. He's been with Elifin for about...
Started like May 20th, start date. So
yeah,
a little bit over a month now.
Just over a month. And Paul is like the most curious intern you have ever met in your life, right? So when I got in the business, I would always ask mentors and older people. I worked at Bo Box before, and I would ask Bo 1,000 questions, right? Well, Paul is the exact same way. He asks at least 100 questions a day. No kidding. And one thing we did is, how can we leverage this talent? Because like Paul asks incredibly insightful questions, and then I give, of course, incredibly insightful answers, right? So how can we leverage this back and forth? And so what we did is, you know, we video, right? And we take out the cell phone. Paul says, I got a question. Take out my cell phone, video it, post it on social media, #intern questions, and it's become this own thing. Paul's doing an intern VR program at the chamber, and was at the chamber the other day, and Adam Knapp came up to him and said, "Hey, I see your videos on LinkedIn." You know, the head of the chamber. So it's a really it's like the new wave of branding and marketing, and not necessarily taking a print ad in the business report costs you know, $5,000, right? Or you could just post on social media what you're already doing. It's a lot more authentic. It's a lot more direct to the consumer in terms of they get it right on their feed. Everybody's on social media nowadays. And one thing we're gonna do here is give you all a little taste of that. Paul's videoing this right now, and he's gonna come up here and ask a few intern questions. Paul, let's give it up for Paul.
Appreciate that. Yeah, so one thing that's really, we do a lot at Elifin, you know, I'm pretty new, so I haven't been too exposed to it yet, is we do a lot of service work. And I really haven't asked him too many questions about that. And I'm gonna go ahead, I think this is a great opportunity to learn from Mathew, and for us all to learn from Mathew, kind of like what Elifin does related to service in the community. And I know like the community is a lot about what y'all do, and it's the kids here, it's very, very important for y'all too. So I'd love to hear what does Elifin do in the community that means a lot to you and means a lot to Baton Rouge?
That's a great question, Paul. So Elifin, I think one of our core values is that we believe in all areas of our city. And so as a commercial real estate agent, and you're dealing with businesses and where they locate in the community, you're dealing with, you're part economic developer, right? You're attracting businesses to the city, and then you're telling them, hey, here's a good spot of town, here's a bad spot, here's where you want to stay away from. And I think all too often those things, historical narratives, are reinforced too much that may not bear with like the stats, right? So you think of a really good example is your namesake, Cortana. And a lot of people would put a big X on Cortana, right, in terms of commercial real estate world. We just listed all the out parcels around Cortana, so all the vacant land that's around there. And if you look at it, it's an incredible opportunity. It's an incredible price. It's incredible value on the land. You got Raising Cane's right there. That is doing a phenomenal business. You always go there. It's packed. It's taking a second look at some of these areas that are just like automatically X'd out without any critical thinking, and saying actually there is opportunity here, and pushing that and attracting businesses there. So that's one thing like inherently in our business culture that we do. But besides that, we do different service projects. So we hosted a clogging event. I don't know if anybody knows what clogging is, but it's a fancy word for jogging while picking up trash. And for whatever reason, clogging comes from a Swedish word, plocka up. These people in Sweden made this viral video. It's got millions and millions of views on social media, and for whatever reason, this whole branding, it became a craze. We hosted some clogging events locally, and one, for example, we had 250 people come pick up trash on Government Street, had a beer afterwards, and we picked up that day we picked up over 1,000 pounds of trash, which is 1 ton of trash. You had mattresses, you had toilets, you had a John Wayne cassette tape, you had a Diet Robitussin. All like the most unique trash is on Government Street. But does that answer your question?
Yeah, that does. It does answer my question. I think it's great. Flogging is something I know, like, as I heard around the office, like flogging. I'm just as confused as y'all probably were. The first time I heard it, I was like, what is that? And I think it's been, from hearing that's great. 1,000 pounds of trash. I think it definitely has a lot to do with, with what we've been able to do at Elifin with Government Street and getting a lot of businesses in there and really bringing up the entire area, because it's a great part of town and it's only going in the right direction now. With all the construction now, it looks all in pieces, but when that gets finished, it's going to be great. I think Mathew definitely agrees with me. That's going to be absolutely awesome.
Yeah, fun fact, so since the road diet was started, basically since it was announced that it was actually going to happen, property values on Government Street, the stats to prove it, have gone up by about 50%. Rental rates and sale prices. You have a lot of people locating there, and a lot of the people that I've talked to basically every owner on Government Street, or I've called on every owner on Government Street, whether they answer my calls. But a lot of the ones that were opposed to it have really liked what it's done to their value. They still may not be happy about it or sure if it's going to make sense. I don't know if it's going to make sense or not. But they're happy about the resulting increase in value. What else you got?
So where do you see Elifin in 5 years? And with that, where do you see Elifin bringing Baton Rouge in the community in 5 years?
All right, let's take the first question. The second question is hard, but first question. All right, where do I see Elifin in 5 years? So a year ago we took out this ad in a big publication and said Elifin's going to be the #1 commercial real estate brokerage in the Baton Rouge, MSA by the end of 2020 or sooner. And it's like we got 2 agents, versus companies that have 60 agents, right? So it's a little bit. We have 13 listings where they have 500 listings. So it's a little bit of a big statement, right? But we also said we're going to do it with only 5 to 10 agents, and because of technology and how we're going to attract the best agents to our firm, and we're just going to surround them with the support staff that makes them incredibly productive at what they do, and allows them to serve more clients, do more business, make more money, all that good stuff. And so 2020 or sooner, we're going to be the #1 commercial real estate brokerage in Baton Rouge, MSA. And then 5 years from now, after we do that, we're going to have an incredible story to tell. We're going to franchise or do an affiliate program where we'll rapidly expand over the Southeast. So where we're going to bring Baton Rouge, every day we just think of like how can we make Baton Rouge better. It's a really cool dynamic in the office of everybody is really engaged. Everybody really cares about the community and how it grows, and you don't have to it's no mandatory you have to be involved in this community service. It's a desire to go to these public meetings, give input, help out where possible, and everybody's got their pet passion. And so I think, just in terms of Baton Rouge, it's just making it a better place every day.
Okay. That last part was really big. So that last part he said about being attachment to the community, kind of relating this back to a little background story of how I started at Elifin. So Matthew, if any of y'all have seen, is all over social media. And we talked about that a little bit earlier. Because he's been like that for a couple years now. And me, being a young person, I'm always on social media, on the phone, all the screen time. I'm seeing this all the time. And I'm young, and I don't own any property yet, and I don't need any commercial real estate, but when I do, I'm gonna know about what's going on at Elifin. So thinking about all that in my head and all the great things that I saw it doing, and seeing Matthew come across my screen all the time, and I'm like, who is this guy? But now I know him super well now, so it's pretty cool. I ran into Matthew at a Baton Rouge Area Foundation civic leadership meeting, and I went there because I'm an LSU student, and I was there on behalf of LSU students, because they have, dealing with some of the LSU lake stuff. The students have input, because people are always running around this lake, the students and stuff. And long story short, I didn't get a chance to shake Matthew's hand there, but I saw him there, and he was the youngest person in the room besides himself. And I'm like, I gotta know this guy. This guy is a mover and shaker, is doing some great stuff. So reached out to him, got lunch with him, got to hear a little bit of vision, not as depth of what he kind of just told us, and I was sold. Now, I didn't tell him that, and not until now. I'm not even telling him that now. He didn't know this, but I knew. I was like, I gotta work with this guy. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I gotta find a way where I can position myself to work for him. So Matthew's also in Rotary Club Baton Rouge. So I went get lunch with him. I talked to him about that, and told me he was in that. And there was a guy in Rotary Club that I needed to meet, because I was trying to see where LSU could help out with some of the service stuff they were doing in the community. And he was like, okay, yeah, look, come with me. I'm like, oh my gosh, this dude's meeting me for the first time. He's putting trust in me that I'm gonna be a person that's representing him at Rotary. So I'm like, wow, I'm 19 and he's trusting me with that. That's huge. So then I went to Rotary, and I was got to see Matthew again. It was great. Sent him an email a week later. It was like, look, dude, I see your vision for where you see yourself and where you see your company, and I really saw was the passion that he had for Baton Rouge, for South Louisiana, for the country, and seeing how things can change and how things can improve, and how he can play a key role in economic development, helping and aiding in everything. I was like, I gotta be part of that. And how can I do that? So I told Matthew, a little simpler version of that. And then we ended up, he said, okay, come to my office, do an interview. And I went to the interview. I was honestly really nervous after the interview. I was like, I don't know if I got it or not. I was I'll be honest, I was a little intimidated, there's like you said, there's all these super young guys. They're not super young, but they're younger guys that are they're so good at what they do. And for me to think that I can be a part of that, that's crazy. But now, looking back, and after Matthew, they eventually accepted me for the internship, and I was, overjoyed. I think I was sitting in the business college at LSU, and I got the email. I was like, I stood up, and I was like, yeah, it was pretty dramatic. It was like a movie almost. And then.
Well, what's your question?
Oh, what? Oh, yeah. Sorry, I'm gonna tangent, but that, yeah. So I guess my question would be is turning into this. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
Where like, what is the whole vision behind having like young people in the office, and how does that like aid in what Elifin is doing?
That's a great question. Yeah. So there's not a vision to have young people or a vision, to get any kind of age range. It's just to get a mindset, and a mindset that we can change our own world. It's a mindset much like the Kiwanis Club has, I think, in terms of you believe you can play an impact in the world around you, right? And that's the kind of people that we want. And so it's not that we go for a demographic or an age or range or anything like that. We just attract those people. And so it just so happens that, if you're young, young people, you're older, older people. It's just like attracts like, and that sort of thing. So, but yeah, so it's not an age thing. It's just a mindset thing.
Yeah. Okay.
That's great. Are we kind of around the
Time.
time?
Have about 10 more.
Okay.
About 5 minutes questions or take
Perfect.
questions.
Paul, what's your next question?
Okay. Next question. All right. So, how can Elifin position itself, and like, how do you see Elifin positioning itself to do even more community stuff?
Well, that's a great question. So I don't always have answers to Paul's questions, and I also don't always answer the question he asks. I answer the question that I want to answer. So I think we kind of hit on like the involvement in the community and everything like that. But I would just say like it's really gratifying to participate in businesses that they want to start up or they want to expand, and it's like a big leap to get a location, right? You're either buying a property, investing a lot of capital, or you are, signing on for a lease for 5 years, an obligation. And with business, it's so uncertain, you don't really know, hey, you're going to be around in 5 years, right? What's going to happen in 5 years? And so to help walk people through that is really a gratifying experience. So that at our core is our community involvement in what we do. But I want to just, if it's okay, just open it up to any questions for me or for Paul a little bit earlier. Sir.
So, can you tell us about the road diet on Government Street and why you think that's making property values go?
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, and that's a great question. And I don't necessarily know exactly why, but I think that you got the road diet. You've got this, this crave of younger and older people to be able to get around the city easier and in different forms, whether it be scooters, motor scooters, or bikes, or walking. And if you've ever biked or walked or anything on Government Street right now, not the most conducive to that.
Taking your life in your hands.
You're taking your life in your hands, literally. I mean, literally. But you think about one street, and it's kind of like a very small example, but Capitol Heights. Are y'all familiar with Capitol Heights? Yeah. So Capitol Heights, they had two ways, right? It was one in each direction, and they made it to a one-way, and they've got those walking paths, bike lanes on the sides. And now you go down Capitol Heights, especially in afternoon, and it's so lovely. It's like you got the little lady, strolling her baby. You got the people exercising. You got the people walking dogs. You got the people enjoying Capitol Heights Avenue for what it is, and all the cute, cool homes over there. That's helped, I think, revitalize the Capitol Heights neighborhood. And so what I'm seeing with Government Street is a similar thing. People are excited about that. Restaurants, you see restaurants and cafes like French Chuck Coffee. They're adding decks on the side, on the front of their, where there was parking. They're adding decks, front decks on their stuff for visitors to come and enjoy, people to come and bike up, walk up. And so it's lending itself to this new desire for everybody to move back into the urban core of the city and be able to get around really easily. And that hype and everything is attracting all these bars there, restaurants. Yeah, I think that's a general answer. Yeah, okay. Yes, sir.
Going back to your comment about different parts of the city with the different reputation. Are you kind of linking that to any federal tax incentives or state economic development incentives that might be available in qualified
Absolutely.
opportunity zones?
Absolutely. So there's opportunity zones. There's this new thing called, so in the Trump tax plan of last January, there was this new program called opportunity zones. And opportunity zones, it identified certain low to moderate income census tracts in each state. And there's a, like, basically if you buy a property in an opportunity zone, hold it for 10 years, when you sell it, you're permanently exempt from capital gains tax, which is like a huge benefit, right? Because that could be a large chunk of change, especially over the appreciation of a 10-year period. And so we use things like that, or different state historical tax credits, just linking people with the people that we're not experts in those areas, but we link let them know that it's available, and then link them with the professionals at like Stonehenge or with the economic development corporations that are a little bit more well-versed in those incentives. But absolutely. And we work really closely with the redevelopment authorities, and the Build Baton Rouge, formerly known as East Baton Rouge Parish Redevelopment Authority, Mid-City Redevelopment Alliance, which was started by and then we got Downtown Development District. In those organizations, we try to work hand in hand with, be their best friend, and help them improve the area that they're working in. Yes, sir.
Matthew, it's an exciting story, and I love hearing you tell it. What part of town do you live in, and why did you choose it?
That's a great question. So that's a very unique question. So I guess I'm unique in my living situation, right? So I lived in the Garden District. I had a house on Terrace, and loved it, absolutely loved it. However, I never went in the backyard once, right? I never did anything. I slept there, and it was too much home, all that stuff. So then I get really busy, right? I lived in the Marriott, right, the big tall one, on the 17th floor, for I think it was 152 days, something like that. And that was awesome. I loved it. Girlfriend didn't really like it. She didn't, I don't know. I guess they want the white picket fence and the, I don't know. She didn't see the vision, right? But but there's a restaurant downstairs. There's many. She's still got it. Yeah. I also don't live in a hotel. So we just moved our office. We were on Government Street before, right across from Boudreaux's Catering, and right by Baton Rouge High. Loved it, absolutely loved it. We just moved downtown, so we're at 640 Main Street, and that's it's where Chenevert Architects used to be. It's kind of by the Jambalaya Shop and Seraps, and absolutely loving it. So we moved there 1 month ago, and I moved into an apartment downtown. So I live like, the Watermark Hotel? Right behind there, there's something they call it the Grand Lady. It's this old Victorian home that, like, one of the last ones in downtown Baton Rouge. Just beautiful. They renovated it into 6 one-bedroom apartment units. And so I moved there, walk to work every day, walk home, and am absolutely loving it. It's a good question, unique question. We gotta cut that out of the video, I think. But Sean.
Now, you just mentioned you were on Government Street. You kind of started the company, it seemed like, with getting your sign on almost every piece of property there was on Government Street. And now you've moved downtown. What are you seeing coming for downtown?
I see a ton of opportunity downtown. I mean, why we located downtown is because it's the largest concentration of, this is one reason, it's the largest concentration of commercial real estate and businesses in the city. So if I walk to lunch in downtown, I'll see 2 or 3 clients, or 2 or 3 prospective clients, just going down there. Office tenants, whether it's CPRT, commercial properties, just a million different people that we see. So it's a business development act in itself, I think, to locate your office downtown and be a part of the downtown community. It's unique. There's nothing like that. Also, there's tons of business. Within a few blocks of my office, there's like 7 or so 50,000 square foot office buildings that we could potentially, and one day will, handle the leasing for, right? Huge opportunity. Plus, we're the only commercial real estate brokerage within 3.5 miles of downtown, which seems wow, right? But that doesn't mean we only do business in downtown or mid-city. We do the majority of business there, but the majority of our business is not there. We do all over the city, right? But I see a lot of, downtown's kind of struggled recently, in the last year or so. So if you go down 3rd Street, you'll see a lot of for lease signs. And I think there's an incredible value downtown. If you want to locate downtown, if you want to put your business there, you can get incredible deals, incredibly cheap space. Example, the office that we're in, they were asking $20 per square foot for rent, which is it's for the space we're in. It's beautifully restored, historic space, high ceilings, incredible renovated space. On Jefferson and Bluebonnet, the space would get $20 at least, if not a considerable amount more. We offered them 12, and they took it. So it's that kind of like, hey, there's a lot of value here. So I think it's the perfect time if you're looking at downtown. Perfect time to go. It's a great question. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, when you first started talking, you said that you had been to several service organizations giving speeches, and apparently you joined Rotary, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Would any of your associates consider joining Cortana Kiwanis?
I think absolutely.
That's a great question.
100%.
Do
100%.
you have applications?
I would love to have it. No, seriously, I would love to have it. Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah, so I've been a member of the Rotary Club, the Young Professionals Club, is where Eric and I met. The Country Club, the Racket Club, the Baton Rouge Bridge Club, which some members, we got some members now. The Car Gang Bridge, no. All right.
Bridge over the river.
No. Like the car game. Nobody's played bridge? But,
We're more of a pinochle crowd.
oh, okay. Misjudged the audience here. Yeah. But yeah, I'm a joiner. That's how I network. So if you meet me once, you might never remember me, right? And especially coming into the business, I had extreme social anxiety and fear of meeting people, and so nervous and couldn't talk to one person, right? And so the way I met people and got my name around is by joining a group. And then like if I joined here, you'd have to see me every Thursday or whatever day it is. Every Thursday morning, and you don't get a choice, and you're gonna have to meet me over this period of time, and then hopefully you end up liking me and wanting to do business. And so that's why I joined so many places. I think we're
All right,
up.
yeah, thank you,
Thank
Matt.
you all so much.